So the future of government-to-government programs in the kingdom. As I said in my introduction, the defence sector in particular is dominated really by government-to-government programs, principally with the US, the UK, and France, a large amount of money, a large amount of government of ministry budgets are tied up in government-to-government programs. Government-to-government programs typically are long-term. The contracts run for between 3 and 5 years, and it ties up a big percentage of the end user's budget for a very significant period of time. And there are pros and cons to the government-to-government route to market, from both the supplier's perspective and also from the end user's perspective. From a supplier's perspective, doing business in the kingdom through a government-to-government framework, whether that's US foreign military sales or UK G2G or the French or Spanish frameworks, can be much more beneficial when it comes to payment, when it comes to acceptance, when it comes to governing law. These will, and the contracts, these will be much more familiar terms and conditions, if you like, because they'll be based on the US model or the UK model that you'll be familiar with from working with those governments on a day-to-day basis. So in some ways, it has an insulating effect. It protects you from some of the it protects you from the normal way of doing business in the kingdom, which is directly with the Saudi government. The future of government to government is a very fascinating question, and one that we could spend days talking about. The presence of government to government reflects the fact that defence procurement is inherently political. There's still a significant amount of political support that is garnered, if you like, through defence procurement activity, particularly with the US, the UK and France, to support long-standing defence and security relationships. I think it's clear that those long-standing defence and security relationships have changed a lot in the last few years, and that's often tied to the personalities that are running governments in the US and the UK. And so what we've seen is less of a deletion of these relationships and more of a dilution. And we're seeing other countries now coming into the defence and security space: South Africa, Singapore, South Korea. Still, the Saudis are looking at Russia and China and India, but I think that the chances of those countries establishing a significant footprint in the kingdom from a defence perspective are quite limited, because so much of the equipment and the systems that are in place already are from the UK and the US. So it's very difficult to integrate a Chinese or Russian piece of equipment into what is predominantly a US air defense system, for example. Where the kingdom is trying to focus this sort of transformation effort when it comes to government is in the maintenance, repair, overhaul and training space. So the mindset very much is, yes, of course, if we're buying warships and fighter aircraft and armoured vehicles, there's more of a justification for a government-to-government relationship there to underpin that contract. But when it comes to operations, maintenance, training, spares, repairs, there's less of a requirement for government-to-government. Of course, government-to-government in that space provides a bit of buying power. If you're buying spares for the MATV fleet and you can piggyback on the US Department of Defense's spares requirements, you're going to get better value for money than going to market yourself. But that comes with other challenges. So MRO, operations, maintenance, training space, government-to-government's under a lot of pressure. And we're already seeing a retraction of government-to-government relations in that sector. Platform procurement, it's going to continue to be a factor. And as I said, there are positives and negatives.